I asked the three of them, I'm like, what do you guys think after we golf? And my brother says, is it more money? And I'm like, yeah, you don't get it. No, not more money. And then my dad asked me, with your family time, will it change your family? And I was like, it's a good point, but I'm not sure. And my grandpa said, where will you make the most difference? And I'm like, done. So I called Bulk on the way home, and I'm like, I'm coming to go to middle school. And it has been, I got there, it has been life-changing. I mean, those kids, their clay is still so moldable at that age. And I've really just enjoyed the energy. I'm a very hyper guy myself. Love the energy of the middle school. Love the ability to watch them evolve and really change. And then stay in contact. I have, Facebook messages or emails from kids that are 25, 30, they're just doing great things right now. It's so cool to see.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reese and Mark Benzer.
Hey, everybody. Kicking off episode early 100s of the Buffalo Community Podcast. Pumped to have Buffalo Community Middle School Principal, Mr. Matt Lubben, in here with us today.
Pumped to be here.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Don't know exactly where we're going to go on this, but we're just going to get it kicked off and started with, why don't you, let's go back to 1995.
1995.
Yeah, and bring us up to 2022 and your story.
Yeah, well, I'm pumped to be on here, you guys. I'm a big fan. Big fan of the show, by the way. Big fan.
Yeah, Tyler's leaving. He's had
later.
enough already.
No, 95. So I'm from Fargo, North Dakota. Went to Morehead State University. And when I graduated there with my then wife, we got married our junior year of college. She came to we went to one of those practice your interview skills.
Sure.
Went to Delano Elementary. And I told her, I said, honey, I have a job lined up in Fargo. We are not leaving. So I don't care how much you love it. We're not leaving, right?
Yeah.
She went there, interviewed, came out with tears. They had a brand new elementary. Said they offered the job to me. I would love it here. And so then I drove around the area, and Jim Toole, he was I think he was a soup back then, and he said, well, see Nick Miller at Buffalo High School. Went there, and they had an opening, physics, and the rest was history. So started teaching there in 95 for a wonderful principal, great building. Physics, chemistry for 9 years. Was the AP for 5 years. Assistant principal, not an AP teacher, because that was before. Mm-hmm. And then went to the middle school for 2 years as an AP under Julie Swager, another wonderful leader. And then the last 12 years, I believe, I've been the head principal. Something like that.
It's been 12 years already?
I don't know, 10 to 12.
Oh, my
like
goodness.
I know.
Like, I'm not, aging it. It just kind of seems like you blink in it. Wow.
27 years, I think, is what it is. It's
awesome.
Crazy.
Congrats.
Thanks, man. It's a great community. Raised my kids here and just love it. Absolutely love it.
So your wife interviews at Delano. You're pretty dead set on not, but she kind of says, no, this is maybe a better plan.
So my teacher was retiring that I had in chemistry in high school. I was going to go to be the West Fargo Packer chemistry teacher.
Right.
My dream job.
Yeah.
And it just,
Yeah. So then literally when you say I went and talked to Nick Miller at Buffalo, it wasn't like a situation where you saw a posting in Buffalo about a physics. It was just like,
I walked in the front door. I said, do you have any openings in science? And he said, hey, do you coach? I'm like, yeah. Coach some sports.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. And all of a sudden we started talking. We sat down, and Terry and I drove the 3 hours back to Fargo and got a call from Nick to come back and do an interview, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Amazing how, your dream job is teed up for you.
Yeah.
Waiting for you, and then
someone else
take
had a
leap
different
of faith.
plan.
Yeah.
Best thing ever too.
Yeah.
Best thing ever for us and our family.
So were you there's quite a contingent, we talked a little bit about Nick guided with this, of guys that came from Fargo Moorhead down to Buffalo. Did you kind of lead that charge, or was there somebody here that you already knew?
I had no idea where Buffalo was, what Buffalo was like.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. Nick came 2 years later, and Nick and I knew each other since 7th grade, playing hoops together, Moorhead, West Fargo. And high school had great competition together. And, we met playing basketball in the morning. He probably said that in his little podcast, but I saw him playing hoops on a Tuesday morning. What are you doing here? And he was coming to teach. So crazy how that lined up. But, I had not heard of someone coming to Buffalo or how great the community was. I hadn't researched it.
Yep.
Just got very lucky to be here.
and Sorensen's come down.
The Sorensens came down, and
Pat
lots.
Sanju was
Pat
up.
Sanju.
So
He was from Monticello, but
yeah.
But just a lot
But
of
a
people
Copper,
from
right?
Concordia. Yep, Concordia
Yep.
College, Morehead State, that direction out there, and a little pipeline from Concordia. Rick Toso, another Cobber. Great pipeline.
You know, we talked about this. There's still it seems like a pretty decent conduit of kids going up to the Fargo-Moorhead area. I mean, from BHS.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's great colleges, great atmosphere for a college kid. Not too far. You want your parents. 3 hours is a good distance sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
My own kids kind of like that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Till they get in a pinch, and then then it's only 3 hours.
Then you get in the car and drive to see them.
Right.
That's what happens.
Let's
Absolutely.
meet in Alexandria, but don't drive too fast
Right.
because that's where the cops go to school.
Yeah.
You're going to get a speeding ticket, Tyler. Not that it happened, but definitely was pulled over. So.
I swear the first year I taught, we would drive to Fargo once a week. And I played in a softball league on Wednesday nights after teaching. We'd play, I'd get home at 2 a.m, and then we would have class the next morning. So
You
we would
played
go back.
softball?
We played softball. My first year, I played in Fargo on Wednesday nights.
Wow.
That's commitment.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Until I get to be on the Benzer team later. That was my highlight of my life.
I got to be on
later,
the Lubben team, I guess
so
is what
fun.
I would say.
That's
I
awesome.
was the bookkeeper, but anyways.
Well, so you took a little bit of a different approach than most educators. I mean, you end up into administration. Kind of was that all along the plan, or was that just opportunity that opened itself up?
I really wanted to be a head boys coach. I wanted to coach at the college level. Most people go to school and they think they're going to do this plan. And so I was first going to be a doctor, and then I decided to be a teacher with my wife and went that way. And then I got into teaching and thought, I'm going to be a college coach. So I'm going to do this for a while, get into coaching. And Pat Sanju, a very close friend of mine that I met at that point, had a lot of the same aspirations. And so I wanted to wait with him and learn from him and others and take some time and then do that. And, when he passed away, I was in a position to start coaching then and was not ready. And just, looking back at it now, great experience, but was a head coach for 4 or 5 years, and that really pushed that leadership piece in me and shook that up a little bit. Pat was actually going to be going to school to be a principal as well. His dad had been a long time Lindy Sanju at Monticello, phenomenal principal, very well respected. And so took some classes and just loved it. And looking at being able to change cultures, whole environments versus, a student's chemistry grade or really related to them at that level was powerful for me.
Yeah. And starting in Buffalo as chemistry and physics. I never quite made it up to the physics level, but snuck through chemistry. Talk about going from dealing with high school kids at that phase of their life to going to the middle school level. I don't think too many kids will say middle school was the highlight of their childhood years. I think you do a great job with those kids, but talk about that transition.
Yeah, I think I'd never had aspirations to go to the middle school. I really didn't. I love the high school. I think being at the high school, being an assistant principal there, that was my dream job. Couldn't have asked for a better job. Loved it. Loved the age of the kids. Loved the interactions. And Julie Swigert and I were just talking one night, and she's a retired principal, middle school, been here forever, just a great person. And just challenged me on that fact, I think you'd love middle school kids. And I'm like, what? Middle school kids? No way. Long story short, we start talking more, and then she has an opening at the middle school for an assistant, and she's talking more to me. And then Dr. Bulk, who was our soup, says, I really want you to think about this. And I'm like, okay. So I go golfing with my dad, my brother, and my grandpa. And I'm asking them, I got to decide by tomorrow. Bulk calls me. He's like, I need a decision. Are you going to go that direction, or are you going to, and I asked the three of them, I'm like, what do you guys think after we golf? And my brother says, is it more money? And I'm like, you don't get it. No, not more money. And then my dad asked me, with your family time, will it change your family? And I was like, that's a good point, but I'm not sure. And my grandpa said, where will you make the most difference? And I'm like, done. So I called Bulk on the way home, and I'm like, I'm coming to go to middle school. And I got there, it has been life-changing. I mean, those kids, their clay is still so moldable at that age. And I've really just enjoyed the energy. I'm a very hyper guy myself. Love the energy of the middle school. Love the ability to watch them evolve and really change. And then stay in contact. I have, Facebook messages or emails from kids that are 25, 30. They're just doing great things right now. It's so cool to see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
We get to see you on the outside, like outsiders. We're not in education, but we do some volunteering and some mentoring at the middle school. But to see you work the halls and the connection that you do have with those kids, I don't think every teacher, every educator, has that one. It's like that. Maybe that didn't sound so great. I think it's just at another level of, there's fist bumps. I don't think you've ever said, hey, Chief, you call him by name, which is pretty impressive. But just kind of as an outsider coming in, you have that connection with the students. And then I'm assuming that's why you do get those messages saying, you know what? Well, I mean, we're still in touch 20 years later.
Yep. No, I love that stuff. And that's what education you get, is you get to see the result of, all your work and things. And having the age group right now, you guys are good examples where now you have the kids of your old students coming through, and to watch them, go through their ups and downs and just working through the hardest job in the world is parenting. We all know that. That's the hardest job in the world. But to watch everyone go through it together now and have my old students just work with them it's such a treat. It's so awesome.
So as you've been, I had a really great question lined up.
So I'll ask it. The next 5-10 years, where do you think education, a general school fitting will be?
It's a great question. We went this last couple of years, with COVID, a lot of changes. A lot of good things come from tough times. Mm-hmm. Like just when schools go through budget cuts are horrible. Mm-hmm. But you also learn where there's room for some change, and it forces you to relook at things. And I've always been a believer, when you go through tough times, that's when you galvanize, that's when you get stronger. With COVID, I remember going 4 or 5 in the morning to school for weeks trying to figure out, how can we do this? What's our schedule going to be? What's it going to look like? How do you get desks that are 6 feet apart, and how do you wash the desks, and how do we get some kids here and some not, and how can teachers do it? All that stuff. But we learned a lot. And so I think a lot of that online presence, a lot of the meeting where you can not drive to Cambridge to meet with somebody and have a Google Meet. Right. At the same time, it's important to see them face to face. But all those things, teachers learning different tools they can use in their classroom through technology. I see a lot more of that going on, a lot of more hybrid models, a lot more of the technology use. But I'm telling you what, almost every kid needs that personal connection.
Right.
So you have to balance it. I have always said at different education settings, no matter what they are, some kids do better at a homeschool model, some kids do better at a Christian school, some kids do better at all kinds of settings. And I don't judge, but every kid needs to be loved and needs to have somebody that's got their back. Mm-hmm. And so they got to have that no matter what that setting is,
Yep. And that just having a kid that's, in 8th grade, going to the high school, that message is consistent. Mm-hmm. It starts... Well, starts at the elementary school, I'm sure, but it's just every kid needs to have support from the students, and every kid needs to have an adult in the building. And it is very streamlined throughout the district. And I'm very thankful. I can't speak for other school districts. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's that huge emphasis there, but I know it exists here. And it's clear talking to you and talking to Nick Guida and others.
I think when you look at it, it's the hiring. It's what you want to hire. Like, do you want to hire people in this district that love physics? I love physics. I love chemistry, and I can talk chemistry all day. But way more important than that is I love kids and I love adults. And sometimes schools aim to hire the curriculum piece more. Mm-hmm. But Rita Pearson, she passed away. She's a phenomenal speaker, and what she said changed a lot of people's lives. She said, kids will not learn from teachers they don't like. They don't like you, they're not going to learn. They're not going to listen.
Right.
So once you get kids to love you and respect you and have that connection, they can learn anything, from calculus from Erdahl to, Squadroni's classic novel class, Vicky Carey's writing class. Once they have that relationship, it's on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's take a little off of out of the school. Actually, one more before we ask a little bit more about you personal life.
Yeah.
What's one thing about science that you just get so geeky about? Like, even like Sheldon Cooper would get like, oh, wow, Lubben, tone it down.
I'm not that smart compared to Sheldon Cooper, but I think for me, it's even talking to Eric Cagle yesterday, one of our teachers, we were talking about what they're teaching with the moons and phases and just simple things like that. But then you start thinking of, I'm always frames of reference guy.
Sure.
So when someone's moving compared to not moving, when a train's moving, the old trick when a train's going and you're sitting by someone in their car and you kind of go backwards slowly.
Yeah.
They think they're going forward.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, like if you could stop the earth right now and just grab it, like we'd be flying off at an incredible rate of speed.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, just reference things.
Okay.
Time travel, that stuff.
That's neat.
Stephen Hawking, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I love it. I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're not in the school, what's your personal life like?
I love to have fun, man.
That's a weird
really
question.
do. That's all right.
What's your personal life like?
Yeah. I think years ago, educators were very cautious for sharing, more about themselves, and I've always been the opposite. Like I'm pretty much an open book. I love my family. I have 5 kids. I have an oldest daughter right now who's in Rochester as a nurse, and I have a second daughter now who's teaching at Annandale High School, and it's so cool to see their lives and what they're doing. And then I have the younger kids still in school, 2 seniors and an 8th grader. So having them, a wonderful wife that teaches in the district as well, Terry. And then I like hanging out with friends. I love friends. I mean, I need to be surrounded by people. I had to quarantine this last year one time, and I think my wife walked down. I was biting my arm. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I can't do this. I can't be alone. Like, I'm one of those people that needs you guys and to see people." And,
I usually bite Guida's arm.
Right,
He's not
right,
here.
right. I have done that before. That's a true story. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Different
think that's the
podcast.
thing. That I love music. I mean, I would love to go. I went and saw Winger this weekend with my wife and another couple, and just see Winger and George Lynch from Dokken, like 80s bands. I've already booked a ton of concerts, and I'm just living for I'm not going to miss something and be like, I wish I would have went to that concert. Like I still go. I don't care how old they are, and if I'm old, I'm doing it. So
Awesome.
then you mix in a little golf. We used to do basketball every Tuesday, Thursday, and it turned into softball.
Yep.
And then it turned into golf league, and now it's pickleball. All of a sudden, my friends are playing. So as you get older, you figure out the old games.
Right. That's what I was going to
good.
say. You go from basketball,
Right.
maybe basketball is, let's go play slow pitch softball.
Yep. Slow pitch,
And then
you
slow
start
pitch is
sliding,
like, oh, jeez.
no.
That's just
And then golf, and then you swing, your back hurts. Like, all right, pickleball, we'll try that. So,
That's nice.
I don't know what's next. Billiards, maybe? I don't know, but like,
yeah, I don't know.
Little
That's
bocce
fun.
ball.
Yeah.
Bocce ball.
Right.
Jarts.
that's cool. I guess long term, kind of where you're at now and in plans, I guess, as far as future with personal, professional.
Yeah. I don't know. People ask me that all the time. And I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, I have an 8th grader, and I've seen all my kids go through the school, and I'm trying to keep that patience. I've always been a pretty impatient person, but when I deal with adults or kids, I really try to be patient. It does get harder as you get older, I think. I battle that more now with being less patient with people. And so if I ever feel like it's going away, I will do something different. I don't want to be that crabby old, that guy went beyond his prime, but
Slow down in the
slow down.
house.
Those dang, when I was
Yeah.
in school, and
Yeah.
that's things I just don't say, because
Yeah.
I believe kids are better now than they ever have been. They have way more they're dealing with, than anyone else ever dealt with, stuff that we didn't deal with in our world. So I look at lots of things. I think music is one. Sorry, where are you going to go?
No, well, you're just saying we deal with like a lot of like crazy things that would just reminded me of the kid that lost his finger.
Oh, man, yeah.
How is that? Sorry, I mean,
I don't know what we can talk about or not, but yeah.
we don't
it
have to say
tough.
names or anything.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
tough.
but Kid was jumping up on a doorway, got his finger stuck on something, and
Yeah. On
comes
the
down with no finger on.
On the ground. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
how's it?
Kid was tough, and it's amazing, to see people that, and some people remains very calm in those situations, and some it's just white. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
In a school that big, you have one thing a year usually that happens. It's
Okay.
just like you can't describe.
Really?
know?
Okay.
There's just there's things.
And when you say a school that big, Buffalo Community Middle School is a very big middle school.
Yeah, it's not quite as big as it was. We have some small class sizes coming through right now, but we're still 1250 or so, and
Yeah.
pretty big school. A lot of kids.
Yeah. I remember Hayden came down into the wrestling room, and he's like, "You guys, how you guys doing today?" He goes, "Oh, I got to tell you the story. Guys lost a finger." But
I was actually in an interview and heard the call, and it's one of those days. I don't forget. Great kid. I'm glad he's doing well, and just tough. Yeah.
You're sorry, throwing
right.
stuff at you.
Yeah.
In
Hey,
an
thanks for
interview,
coming in.
Yeah,
It's a-
yeah. So you go from teaching principals 12 months a year.
Yeah.
Is the school time when you can catch your breath, or is it summertime, or is it how did that change when you change titles?
Most teachers work year round, whether it's on their curriculum or different things. And I know that, like for me, Charlie Keifenheim, you guys know Keif, great teacher, and him and I built decks all summer. So, for me, I've always done that. I think I use my weekends and my friends and family time to rejuvenate. I don't have a specific time during the summer where I travel or not.
Right.
I think I just try to find ways. I have adults in my life that call me on it, so if I feel like I just had someone today give me a box of candy, one of my teachers, and said, check your blood pressure. I'm like, yep, okay. Good reminder,
Cool.
Make sure we're staying in check. So just weekends, finding ways to connect with friends and family, music to kind of get that vinyl record out, that Steve Winwood 1977. Right now I'm hooked on that.
Yeah.
Self-titled. Check it out. I heard it at Hayes Pub on Tuesday vinyl night.
Sure.
They played this record. I'm like, I've never heard of this. And now I'm hooked. So good.
Wow.
So thank you, Next Door. That was awesome.
Thank you, Next Door.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. What you said you've got a bunch of concerts booked. What's that one that?
Oh, what's booked right now coming up? I got Black Crowes this summer. I'm going to see Black Crowes. I'm very excited about them. Jerry Cantrell I'm going to next week. He's an Alice in Chains guitar player. I'm going to take my son to Tesla. It's one of my favorite bands. Him and I saw them a couple times.
Yeah, where's Tesla at? I've been hearing.
Tesla's going to be in Treasure Island. I think that's in Red Wing. I think that's the one that's at. Gosh, there's more. It's hard for me to remember.
Would it surprise you that I don't know very many of these people that you're talking about?
The biggest problem you guys had was your music is just not as good as the 80s.
Are you kidding? Did you see the Super Bowl?
That was actually not bad, but I'm saying the 80s were,
Yeah.
My kids nowadays, they like these bands and they have like one song and it's just terrible. And
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
MTV in the 80s was the greatest thing in the world, and what happened in the
music.
80s was
Yeah.
so good. So I'm stuck in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so you know.
Who's the guitarist from Tesla?
Well, which one? Frankie Hannon. I have two different pictures with him.
Okay.
Tommy Skio got fired after the first CD.
Okay. I got a manager, really quick story that you may or may not care about. When he lived up in Duluth, Tesla's in town playing. They somehow get in front of him, and they're like, he has the guitarist from Tesla over to his house. Like, he says, yes, I'll come jam with you guys. And
It's got to be Frankie Hannon. That
Wasn't
guy's
drinking. He had quit
legit.
drinking. So like, we got whatever. But he's like, comes over, and he just jams in my manager's garage. Like, and he is a 80s hair metal
Yes.
freak.
Those are the guys after the show, you just go out there and they're just hanging out. Just great people.
Yeah.
They just want to make music, hang out.
Awesome.
They're not trying to be famous anymore. They just love what they do.
They might even just come over to your garage and play guitar with you.
Oh, for sure. Love what you do, right?
Do you play?
My son taught me a little bit. I've tried to learn. Patrick's a pretty talented, he's going to Eau Claire for jazz guitar. He's pretty good at guitar. I wish I could.
Sure.
My brother can and I can't, and it bothers me, but I try. I'm just like 5 chords.
Sure. So, sometimes that's all you need, right?
G, C, D, throw in an A minor, E minor in there, and it's good.
Yeah.
But you're not that guy that shows up with a guitar trying to play. Hold on, guys. I think I got this one. I think I got this one.
If
Guitar
Ted's
guy.
Rust is watching, he might say, I don't know, we'll see what Teddy says.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Absolutely.
But drummer.
Yeah, I'm a drummer. I'm very average now. It's been a long time, but was in a band when I was younger, 14, 15 years old. And
What was your band's name?
True Blood was one. We were a Christian rock band to change the world like Stryper. And then the other one was Prisoner. Yeah, Prisoner. I tried out in below some bar. And it
What
was
about
horrible.
Staph infection? I mean, where does that rank?
Staph infection's one of my, I miss Tommy Bauman on that. Tommy Bauman is, talk about great people in the world. Tom Bauman.
Tom Bauman was on
Staph infection. He sang Elvis along with Gary Kaluski. It was phenomenal.
Really?
You should check that out on YouTube. I might send a little clip for you guys to put out there.
Yeah.
Because staph infection was teachers, BHM staff, basically. You, Charlie
Mr.
Keifenheim.
Chesbo, Lee Chesbo, the late great, or not the late great, sorry, Lee, the wonderful Lee Chesbo.
I was like, what?
Right, sorry.
I just Facebook messaged
Mike
him.
Walsh, Billy Soden. It was, all these, it was so fun.
Keif, right?
Back in the Keif was on there. John Holtz made an appearance here and there. Evan Ronkin's been on it. Lots of people and just a lot of good jams.
Just all the who's who of
so fun.
BHM staff
Well,
musicians.
yeah, if you send us that link, we'll put it in the
send a couple
in the show
links. Yeah, we
notes.
can do that.
A couple links.
Bringing the
We
house
do it
down.
every year, so it's fun. It's great. We had Melanie Olson from Parkside sing, oh my gosh, what song was it? Kiss Me Deadly. Lita Ford, phenomenal singer. She is phenomenal, so that was another fun one lately.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good times.
Anything we're missing? I mean, like
Well, a little awkward pause there. I'm like, what
I know.
happened right there?
Yeah.
Benzo gets a look on his face like he's just about to ask something,
Right.
and
I just kinda...
and I let it happen.
I think one thing I could say is just, I think, and I say this a lot at our student breakfast, but I don't think adults get the right picture of kids nowadays. I think the media, social media really bothers me, a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But I think they get this image of what our youth are like. Mm-hmm. And it's portrayed that, lazy and don't care about others and not kind. And, we're just seeing the opposite. We're seeing some behaviors that COVID introduced people because they were on their social media so much. But all in all, like our kids, the youth and what they're doing to help others and what they're doing to for the future is just, it's very powerful. Mm-hmm. And I get to see it, and so I feel bad that others don't. And I think I need to keep speaking for them because I should have brought 2 kids with you and just had them just talk, like what they're doing. And I think you guys should get some middle school kids on here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Have them rap about what they're doing, or a high school kid, and just share the good they're doing,
That's our highest performing episode is when we have the Hall of Famers on.
Yeah.
Last year we didn't have it because of COVID and schedules didn't line up. But yeah, we had Amanda Krinke and Dami Amole in.
Oh, it's great kids.
Here.
Yep.
Yeah, like whoa.
Yep.
If people can be proud of the school system, is just look at, well, okay, they're in the Hall of Fame. Obviously,
right.
they're great. But yeah, it'd be awesome to hear. Guida shared some stories of. There's a lot of things that are happening in the hallways that people would never know. Like he talked about a world-class dog trainer. Or,
right.
So if you ever have those hooks, send them our way.
We have a kid in our school. It's a rodeo kid right now. And I watch Yellowstone, so I'm the one to watch that now.
Yeah.
This kid's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
And he already told me I could sponsor him and put Motley Crue on his vest for like $50. So we got so many cool things when our kids now. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, you definitely don't get. Oftentimes, the good stuff isn't newsworthy.
No.
Right. So it's maybe from the outside looking in, you hear the negative or you hear the national stories and assume that this is what's happening, all over the place.
For sure. Well, we were talking about crying before we got on the air or whatever, and I like Dami when I listened to him talk, because Dami's such a great kid too, and Krinky, but I had tears just listening to him. I'm so proud of that kid because you get to see them come through the middle school and all that stuff, and any of those kids that do great things right now, it's so fun.
Yeah, I remember. I think just listening to Dami and Amanda talk, we almost found ourselves laughing.
Yeah,
and it's
like a comedy show.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at how amazing you are.
Yeah,
where I'm going
Mark and I haven't done anything.
Yeah,
you guys are pretty amazing.
And
that's what I'm saying. Like right now in the world, if people want to work, there's a lot of opportunity, and our kids are set up for a lot of opportunity coming up. And if they can just show the great things they want to do, and if that generation can be heard, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a fun time to see what happens.
And they will.
They will.
They'll
step up. They'll step up for sure. So
absolutely.
It's good.
Lubben, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Look forward to getting some middle school kids on here.
Let's do it. Yeah, I have a couple in mind, so we'll get them on here.
Awesome.
All right, take care, you guys. Thank you.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reese.
I'm Mark Benzer.
And he's Matt Lubben.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlin Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.